going on, everyone? This is the Popcorn Heroes review of yesterday. All my troubles seem so far away. Wow, dude, I love the backup vocals I have here. Jesus Christ.
I didn't know I was supposed to come in.
God damn it, man. God damn it.
I'm so glad now this song is far away.
Oh, I still believe in yesterday. There you go.
Suddenly, the song is over.
All right. Fucking worst co-host ever. Anyways, ladies and gents, we're talking about the movie called Yesterday. Essentially, we'll give you a quick synopsis of the plot. The Beatles no longer exist in this universe, but only one man remembers who they are. He makes a career out of it. Good for him. Good for him. That's essentially the synopsis for the movie. You should definitely go watch it. Orlando, quick review. Very quick so we could get into the spoilers. 1 out of 5.
So I think this would be the first ever Popcorn Heroes number 5 rating. Yeah.
So 5 out of 5?
I give it a 5.
Wow.
I really liked it. I loved it. It's my favorite movie I've seen all year. It's
better than Endgame.
They're two different movies, honestly. But I think this is like when I think about feel good movies, I think this movie.
This movie's up there for sure.
And when I think about like just a good time, I think about this movie. And yeah, it's a bit formulaic and a bit like predictable, but overall, it's good. Like it's just solid.
It's very good.
I have really nothing negative to say.
I give it a 4.5 out of 5 because of the ending, which kind of like really annoyed me.
Right.
But other than that, the movie was fucking flawless. Like the acting was great, the singing was good.
Yeah.
You got Lily James fucking look beautiful throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
I'm just like, how is this guy not like whatever? Anyways,
yeah.
This movie's so good, dude. I don't know. It's just, and even the idea of like, what would a universe be without such an important band?
Right. And I mean, even if like, it's funny because even if you don't like the Beatles, you know who they are. Mm-hmm. And even if you don't like, I saw Paul McCartney live at Bonnaroo 2015 or 2016, I believe.
Who you saw?
I saw Paul McCartney live.
Yeah.
And I was a fan of the Beatles, but when I first saw him, I was like, you know what? I don't know his whole catalog because it's fucking Paul McCartney. He's done more than Beatles.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And a friend of mine was like, "No, you know everything because he is so
everywhere,
bigger than life that you've seen. You know his music through commercials, through TV, through radio." So, and she was absolutely right. I knew every song because he'd done Wings. He's done his own solo music. But regardless, the Beatles in general, mainly the Beatles, their music is timeless. Yeah. And it's been in everything. It's been in...
They're iconic, man.
They're iconic.
They're literally pop culture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They are pop culture. So they are... I think the Beatles, Michael Jackson, and... Man, I can't think of anybody else that is like that iconic. Maybe... Yeah. I think Frank, if you want to go back to old school, like far
Frank
back,
Sinatra,
from the Beatles.
I mean, I feel like every era has their person,
their person, right? Yeah. But I think the Beatles and Mike are just their music is
timeless for sure, and they will always live on for sure. Do you recommend it?
Yeah, 100%. Great movie.
Yeah.
Take your kids, take your wife, take your partner.
Not
whatever.
the kids. They will never understand what's going on. I do recommend it for sure. But I mean, this is probably what the last week was the last week you could have seen the movie in theaters.
Well, yeah,
I have to wait for a video on demand.
It looks like because I'm trying to watch it again, at least for where I am at. We're from Miami, so I'm trying to watch it again, and yeah, it seems like it's already closing out its run. Is because what's coming up this week? Maybe in a couple weeks, like
right now. So as of this recording, we're coming out this weekend is Stuber.
Right. Oh, okay.
And then next weekend is Lion King.
Yeah, so once The Lion King is out for sure, it's gonna probably
end it pushes it out.
Yeah, but overall great movie, you guys. But you guys haven't seen it yet. Go ahead, try to watch it as soon as you can. If not, wait for it to be on video on demand
and watch it as soon as you see it.
Yeah, watch it. It's really just a really good feel good movie. It's gonna be one of my favorite movies of like.
All right, so let's jump into it. We have spoilers ahead, everyone. Spoilers if you haven't seen the movie or if you already seen it, stick around. We're gonna be talking about it. If you haven't, deuce it and then come back. Yeah. Look at your Spotify and pause and I stopped at this time. And then come back.
Right, because we are on Spotify now.
We're on Spotify, guys. Spoilers ahead. Spoilers. All right. So let's hit with the start off with the ending, because the ending kind of fucking threw me out. Like,
okay.
I didn't understand the whole point. Of of the reason why he actually like admitted to what he was doing. Like, that just kind of threw me off, and there's no purpose for it, because even the people who knew what he was doing, they're like, thank God you're fucking doing it.
Right. So
I'm just kind of like, fuck this, dude.
So basically, the movie ends, like, if you don't care about spoilers, the movie ends, basically, he gets famous, he gets rich, he has all this acclaim. And through all of this, he realizes that the love of his life, the girl he loves, is he's losing her, but by like chasing after this fame and this success. That
he's been always looking for in the entire movie.
Right. He's losing the moment to be with this person. So he admits the fact that he has copyrighted all of these songs from the Beatles, and he names them, he names Paul McCartney, John Lennon, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. Mm-hmm. So he calls them all out. And he uploads the whole entire Beatles catalog, essentially, we assume.
What he recorded
for free online. And it makes a big hoopla because obviously he's tied to this big record company. He was about to release his first album, yada, yada, yada. And
it's supposed to be the biggest album ever.
He was supposed to be like the next coming of Jesus. Basically, he's supposed to be the Beatles, obviously.
Yeah.
And he throws it all away to just live a simple life with the girl he loves. And your question is, why does he do it at the end? Because you're right.
Not the questioning of why he went with the girl. Of course, it's Lily James. You're supposed to be doing that. Like,
yeah, right. Lily James.
If you didn't do that, I'm like, this shit's fake as fuck. But the problem is that he actually admitted to, quote unquote, stealing the music from the Beatles.
Right.
But the Beatles don't exist in this world.
Exactly.
Nobody knows who they are.
Yeah.
They're just randos in the world.
Exactly.
So like, I just didn't see the point. Like, why would you even say that you quote unquote stole the music? Nobody knows who anyone is. And like I told you, the only people who knew wanted you to do this. They were fucking like, thank God you're doing this, because I was living life without this music. So like, I wanted you to do this. Like, I was waiting for someone, because I couldn't sing. So if I could have, I would have done it, you know? Yeah. So it's kind of like, why would you do that? Like, why would you just admit to that? I just find it pointless.
It's kind of like never ask for what you wish for.
Essentially, yeah.
Basically, it's kind of like he wanted this acclaim, wanted this fame. He got it, and with that comes along this entire event of becoming famous and becoming disconnected between your hometown people, your friends, the loved ones, but also being alone, traveling all the time, and not being surrounded with people who don't really care about you, which is his manager.
And the manager even mentions it, like, you're a fucking product to me. Like, you're nothing to me.
Which she does a great job, by the way.
Yeah, she does.
In terms of...
she's really good at her job.
Character, yeah. And so I felt like this movie was kind of like not a less corny version of that person, like, wishing upon a star. And you're like, come on, please, 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 please.
Yeah. And then boom,
they get it. And then...
because he wasn't really wishing it, he really wanted it. Like, because he's been doing it for so long that nothing was happening in his career. Right. And he's like, fuck, I thought I was good, Right.
And then at that time, he was ready to throw in the towel. So it's not like he really was wanting this life.
Yeah.
But still, it falls into that trope of like, oh, please make me a superstar. Mm-hmm. And then bam, you got what you wanted. And you're like, whoa, this is not what I pictured it would be. I pictured I'd be famous, but not like...
And still live my life.
I'd probably still be able to live my life, or I wouldn't be so blinded by the fame. And at a point, he was blinded by the fame. Mm-hmm. So I understand the reason why, like, you do it. It's kind of like you throw away the magic lamp, basically. Yeah. Like, no, I have nothing to do with this power. So, like, let me just totally get rid of it. So I understand why he did it. It doesn't make I understand. I get what you're saying as well, because at the end of the day, like, you don't have to. No one is going to. It's funny because we didn't see the fallout of that, which I would have liked, because he mentions the Beatles by name, and people could have interviewed them. Hey, did you write these songs? And they're like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. Or they could have searched for these songs and, such and such, and they would have came up empty. And so I would have liked to see the media be like, hey, why did he do this? Because clearly
these people are nothing.
Don't exist. And like, he's making up.
But they exist.
Right. But to the media, it would have been like, or to the world at the time, it would have been like, you're lying.
Yeah.
Why are you lying? Because obviously they would try to dig it up. So why are you lying, basically?
You're in the record label. Like, why did you do that?
Yeah. So I would love to see the fallout.
You gave away the most prized possession they had, which is this album that could have been a major hit for them.
Right. So I would have liked to see the fallout of that in terms of like the media coverage of like, man, why is he lying? I guess the fame was too much. I would have liked to see the fame got too high, his head got too big, and then he had to like
the tabloids and shit like that.
Yeah, I would have liked to see that, but we didn't get that in the movie, and that's fine. But I get what you're saying, and I just take it back to the trope of like never ask for what you wish for. I'm using that term wrong.
I understand what you're going for, but I feel like he could have still dropped the album and sold millions for it.
I agree.
And not even toured, don't do anything, just fucking fall off the face of the earth, and nobody would have cared. But he would have been known for dropping the most epic album of all time. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but think about it like this, like you
didn't have to admit to anything.
But think of it like this, though. At the end of the day, like, he didn't have to, but he didn't write those songs. Those are
no, of course he didn't.
He did,
but that world doesn't know that.
Right, the world doesn't know that, but he knows that.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, okay, like, I'm living this lie, and that's also another thing too. I'm living this essential lie.
Yeah.
So I am not
the genius. I
am not the genius. Yeah. So it's just like, that's also another thing that is playing in here. I am not the genius. So the success really isn't mine.
Yeah.
And the times I've had tried, because we see in the movie basically that while he's using the Beatles music as a launching pad, he's also throwing his original songs. And like, hey, what are you?
Did he ever threw in?
Yeah, he threw in Summer. That's the Summer Song. He threw in Summer Song. So in the movie, it opens up with him at like a kid's party or like a little festival, and he's playing a song called Summer Song. And people like it, but it doesn't really get him to success. Yeah. Once he gets to success with the Beatles music, he's like, oh, I have this new hit for you guys. And he throws in Summer Song. And people are like, ooh, that's when his manager was like, I'm not sure why I hate it. And it's like, it's boring, but it's also not interesting. But I want to keep listening to it to figure out why it sucks, but I don't want to listen to it. And so, I'm not sure if you remember that scene, but he tries to incorporate some of his music, obviously into his catalog of music, and it falls flat.
Because like I was telling you, like, I know Beatle music, but I don't know it really well. Like, I can't spot it. Like, I can spot their bigger hits that everybody knows about. But like, there's some of the lesser songs that I know about. Like when he was doing that battle with Ed Sheeran. Yeah. The piano song he did was a Beatles song, I'm assuming. Right. And I didn't really know it. I just like, oh, that's a nice song, whatever. Yeah. I assumed it was a Beatles song because everybody was so transfixed by it. So when you mentioned the Summer Song, I was just like, it sounds familiar, but it's because I heard it earlier in the movie.
It's a Beatles song. It's not a Beatles song. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So I was kind of confused of what it was or what it wasn't. So like, I didn't really. Sometimes I was lost in the music of like what was real and what was not. Right. But yeah, I do understand that he tried his music and it wasn't working.
Exactly. So it's kind of like, I'm not famous. Like me keeping on the lie for what? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, I don't want the fame. I never wanted the fame. I just wanted to have my music out there and be, acknowledge that I'm a good musician. But my music isn't resonating with people. So why keep up this facade? Especially when you look at his house and where he grew up in, and you look at his life, he essentially had a humble living. Yeah. And at the end of it, he threw it away for the humble living. So it's like, I don't need the rich and the fame. The glamour. I don't need any of it. I could release the Beatles music and make money, but I don't need any of it. And so I think at the end of the day, if it ended like, okay, I'm gonna release the music. I'm gonna release my album. I'm gonna become famous. I'm gonna drop off and then like run away with my girl. I feel like the ending it would make sense, of course, because you have the money now. You could drop off, but it just wouldn't feel right in terms of character development. In terms of like
For his character.
Yeah, in terms of character development. In terms of a movie,
Because it was eating at him.
yeah. In terms of a movie, it wouldn't be a resolution.
Yeah.
It would be like it would kind of be like how like we're waiting for the epilogue. Like it would end and it'd be like, okay, but what's next then? You'd wait for that epilogue. With this, you have a solid resolution. You're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
He goes back home. He has kids. He lives with his wife. And they have a beautiful family. The end. You're like, perfect.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, like, just writing wise, just as a movie, I think this ending was like,
It does make sense because throughout the movie you also see that it was eating at him. Of
course.
Whenever anyone mentioned, "Oh, you're such a genius. How did you write all these songs back to back?"
Yeah, exactly.
And he's like, "Well, I just did it." You know, like. But he also, if you remember, there's when he finally meets those fans that knew the Beatles music, they mentioned to him that like, "Oh, you kind of messed up on these areas." He's like, "Yeah, I just couldn't remember. I was just trying to fill it in."
Yeah.
You know. So he kind of did. He used the music, but he also kind of filled it in with his stuff too.
Yeah.
So like, I just feel like he, as a musician, he did what he did. I mean, he was a musician that filled in someone else's music with
Right.
his own shit too at the same time.
Right.
So like, I do feel like, yeah, he fucked up in the sense of like, hey, I have this, I'm using someone else's music, but I'm also kind of putting my own things to
Yeah.
it because I can't fucking remember what it is.
Right, but think of it like this though. Think of it like in the movie we see him writing down notes on post-it notes and trying to remember the lyrics of every song.
Yeah.
One of the famous songs he tries to remember was Eleanor Rigby.
Yeah.
Which is a big, great, beautiful song, Beatles song, very sad song. But whatever, he's trying to remember the song. And he goes back and forth and like trying to figure out the old man, the church, wedding, what happened. He's trying to put all these little scenes together and he's messing up constantly.
Yeah.
Imagine the headache it must be to try to play a song in your head that you can't listen to anymore and you're trying to figure out the lyrics.
Yeah.
And like it's up to you because like you're the hit maker. So it's like it sounds like a lot of like fucking work. You know, it's like fuck this. Like, you know, like, and it's probably easier if like as a songwriter to be like, it's okay, I'm trying to remember it because you know what works. The Beatles music, the formula, the Beatles works.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't work, yeah, maybe you could throw in like a couple sentences here and there.
Yeah.
But that formula, that format, you have to keep it the same. So you can't like be too original with it because then it's going into territory that you know it's not really tested. Like when he did his own song, like, oh, I'm gonna test this out, I'm gonna throw it in there like it's a Beatles song, and it's not, and they can easily like smell it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I just feel like it would have been a lot of work for him.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because he had it was a double album, so he fucking did like maybe like 30 songs essentially.
Yeah.
For one album.
And so what I did like, to take it back a little bit, is so in the beginning he, like I said, lights goes out, he becomes famous. But the way he got famous is that Ed Sheeran heard his music playing, through like a commercial because he was in town, and so he saw like a local TV spot
essentially,
and he saw him and he went to go visit him.
It was a local TV show.
Local TV spot.
Kind of like but
like,
it's not really local people.
Like Local 10 News, and then like Local 10 is playing like his.
And Local 10 is interviewing him.
Exactly,
about his music,
and so like it's only him. And honestly, he did pretty good as an actor. I didn't never seen him act before.
Apparently, it was probably his first role. I think.
Really, I think he did really good in terms of acting wise. Like,
no, he did really good, and the music, his singing was pretty good.
He's a great singer, so I wasn't gonna like knock him for that. He's a phenomenal singer.
He did pretty good.
But he plays this character of like, obviously he plays Ed Sheeran, but he plays a version.
You talking about Ed Sheeran, or you talking about the main character?
No, I'm talking about Ed Sheeran.
Oh, Ed Sheeran was in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, five seconds.
The infamous scene he had.
Yeah, that was in it for like 5 seconds.
Are they talking about the actor, the main guy?
No,
this was his first movie.
I'm talking about Ed Sheeran as an actor.
Okay.
I think he did really well because
he did really well.
Obviously, he plays himself, but he plays
an exaggerated version of himself.
Yeah, but he does play a version of himself that's a bit more like bigger than life because he's fucking Ed Sheeran, but he also knows he's fucking Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
And then he gets essentially dethroned. So
yeah, because he mentioned it in the movie. He was like, "Oh, I always knew that someone better than me would come, but I didn't think it was gonna be this soon or something like that."
Yeah. So essentially, he gets dethroned where he takes him on tour, and he realizes that like, holy shit, you're a great songwriter, and I like the acting in terms of like his facial structure, like his facial features were kind of like
humbling. I'm
humbling, but also so jealous.
Yeah.
Like he's watching him really play where he's like, "Fuck, you're so good. Damn, I'm gonna be opening for you." That's the feeling I got.
I can't hit you. Like you're so good that I can't hit you.
Yeah. So that's the feeling I got where like
he did good portraying that feeling. Yeah, he did really well.
So
so sometimes I thought he's gonna be a fucking dick to him, but he was like, "Oh my god, you're so good."
Yeah. and at first it wasn't ever like that, but I did have that feeling that he was gonna be kind of a dick.
Yeah,
but it wasn't really like that. It was kind of like
never went that way.
Yeah, it was more of like you're too good, so I can't hate on you.
You can't, and I think that's a true testament of his character in the movie, essentially. Because any other famous person would be like, "You're a fucking out. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't want you to overshine me."
Right.
And he didn't care about that. He's like, I want you to be out there. Like, I want to make you bigger than what it is. You know, like you're so much better that you need to be out there. You need to be making this. And stuff like that.
And so so it was pretty funny. And another character, obviously, that we mentioned, but we haven't talked about, and we haven't mentioned the character's name. So the main character's name is Jack. Jack Malik, he becomes basically the Beetle. The only Beetle. And another character, obviously, that we mentioned, but we haven't mentioned by name, is Lily, who's played by Ellie, who's played by Lily James. And so I really liked her.
Yeah, she was great in this movie, man.
Yeah,
and all her scenes seemed very genuine. Like she seemed like she really cared about him. And from seeing the trailers, I thought that she was already his girlfriend. That she was just a super supportive girlfriend. Yeah. And it ends up being that she's just
the best friend.
Yeah, the best friend. You know? The what is that called? Fuck, when somebody's it's just a best friend.
Friend zone?
In the friend zone. She's essentially in the friend zone.
Right.
And I'm like,
I mean, you don't believe it because she's so beautiful, but I think
she's so cool. Like in the movie, she's such a chill girl. Right. And she's like very cool and like she's very supportive. And I'm like, how are you not gonna be with this girl? You know?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like they've been friends since they were like 10 years old.
Yeah, they were kids.
Like they were kids, and so like I could understand like that dynamic of sense of like, and both of them never express how they feel. So it's kind of like
they're both very afraid.
Yeah, so it's a weird place to like drop your foot in. You know, where you're like, yeah, maybe not. You know.
Yeah.
So I could see it in terms of like character wise, like, okay, guys were 10, it's hard to talk about it. It's there, but you don't know it's there, so you don't want to take that risk, you know? Yeah. And she does finally take that risk, because the thing is, at the end of the day, like, they've been friends for a long time. She ends up being his manager.
And like, he's leaving.
And so she takes that risk.
Like, I might as well. You're going to leave.
So it was forced upon her because she was like, well, you're leaving. If I never see you, then, you know.
Yeah.
And I forget what she says to him, where she like, when am I gonna fit in your column or something like?
Yeah, because what he does post-its of like it was an ongoing thing he did with the post-its,
right?
And like when I'm ever gonna be one of your post-its, I'm gonna do this, you know?
Yeah. And so I really did feel like for her in terms of like you could tell she loved him and she wanted to support him, especially when he becomes famous and they meet up again. And she knows that like, you know, basically what happens is like she meets up again in London, and after it's out there, she likes him.
Yeah, she likes him. She comes to visit him.
She wants to, you know, be with him, and you know he's on the rise basically, and now he doesn't really like, and so he understands what the situation is. And if you ever been around anybody that like just told you they liked you hang out from that next day, there's always like
it's an awkward point.
It's awkward, and it's in the air.
Yeah,
and you can feel it in the movie. Even though it was months apart, this is the second time they're hanging out since the whole reveal.
Since she told him the feelings.
So they hook up. And it's funny because she's like, no, I don't want to do this because like this is a one night stand. He's like, oh no, it's not. And he's like,
aren't you leaving tomorrow?
Well, when, are you leaving tomorrow? And she's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, that's one night. Which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And so you feel for her because like he does like her, but then he's like, damn, I can't commit to you now. Like I'm committing this to the music. And that's also why he had to give it up. I think he failed. He felt he had to give it up. But yeah, he couldn't commit because like, it's about the music now, not about my relationship or whatever. I understand that we have something and there's chemistry here for sure, but I can't. I just can't.
Yeah.
So walks away with it. And yeah, I just really like her. I really felt like she was very vulnerable, very like, I've dated people and I've seen that presence of like vulnerability and just putting yourself out there to not want to get hurt. Like it's very human. So I really like that. Her performance.
Her portrayal was really good.
Yeah.
It was so great. Good, man. And even the side characters, like the friends at the beginning when they were making fun of him and shit like that.
Yeah.
They were really like, friends shit,
Yeah, like those two friends basically gone.
Those two friends, they broke up essentially, right?
No.
Or they were never together.
I don't really know, honestly. They never. I think they were together.
I think they were together, and at the end, they ended up breaking up because she got with her Lily James' ex, essentially.
Unless they weren't. I mean,
they weren't together.
Those characters were so side characters that they were like their story.
I didn't know if they were brothers. I didn't know if they were cousins. I didn't know if they were best friends or lovers.
It wasn't really established.
It was never established. But they were always together.
They were always together.
That was the ongoing gag. They're like, hey, you guys are always together. Like, what the fuck you mean that they're not there,
Yeah.
So I, at the end, when she got with Lily James' ex, I'm just like, wait, did she actually break up with this guy?
Yeah.
That kind of threw me off. I didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah, and talking about the ex, so basically in the movie, she realizes she can't be with him, and she dates like his first like studio producer.
Yeah,
and so like, but it always feels like a placement holder.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
he was always that.
Yeah, and he knew that it was second place, but. Even though his role was very minor, like
he was good.
It was good. Like you felt like, damn, dude, like
you felt that he took the plunge regardless of knowing that he was second place.
Yeah.
Like he was like, I just wanted to be with you, man. Like I didn't give a fuck. Like I just wanted to know how it was.
And like he wasn't that big of a character, but there were small scenes where like she's literally confessing her love to him. While her ex is outside outside the door, and he overhears everything. He's just like, obviously it's hard, but he swallows it and he's like, yeah, we're gonna still do this. So like, yeah, even it's just a great. Every character, big or small, truly shines. Like truly has a moment. The
parents had their scene,
right? Yeah.
When he was in the piano and it kept getting interrupted, and he's like, "Fuck, just let me play my song."
Yeah. And it's always just like. Typical, like, yeah, this is your music, whatever.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
But
you're not gonna do anything with it.
Then you made it. You're like, yeah, I always knew you were gonna make it. Like,
because even when his friends, when he started getting bigger, like, what? He got bigger? Like, what? Nah, you're lying to me, right? Because he was always mediocre.
Right.
So his friends didn't even believe that he was getting big. Not even his parents cared that he was getting quote unquote bigger. You know? So I think that was funny too. And the ongoing gag of him researching. That was pretty funny too.
Yeah, because there's other things that end up missing in the world. So like, Coke doesn't exist in this world. So there's a funny gag where like
he starts researching everything.
Yeah, like his mom gives him a Pepsi and he's just like, "Oh, can I have a Coke?" And she's like, "What's Coke?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, all right." And then he knows like things are awkward, so he researches it and it's gone.
Yeah. And
then like he forgets that Coke doesn't exist, so then he asks for Coke on a plane.
Yeah.
And then she looks at him like, "You mean cocaine?" And he's like, "No, I'm good. Never mind." And then at the end, there's a few other things that are missing.
There's a lot of things
I can't remember
because he starts going on a binge of researching, and every so often things come up, and he's like, "What? You don't know about this?" And he starts researching what it is. But it's funny. It's a funny little gag because sometimes he doesn't even say what, you don't know this. He just like he mentions like I don't know like tablecloth, and they're like what? And he's like, oh, and you see that gag of him clicking on a computer, and it pops up, and that thing pops up.
Yeah, at the end he mentions Harry Potter.
Yeah,
and his wife is like, what? And then he's like, oh, he didn't say anything, but you get it.
And then you see that click. He researches it, and Harry Potter's gone too.
Exactly. So yeah, that was a running gag of the movie, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was a really good gag.
It kind of in the universe, this is like this is not the only thing that's
missing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of things. Which is pretty cool.
Before we end the episode, one of the Easter eggs, cameos that were pretty big if you're a Beatles fan is he
runs into he looks for
he's
somebody his fans.
No, not that part. Well, he is sensing he runs into his fan. They tell the fans. So there are two other people in the universe that know about the Beatles. So they, after a big show, they're like, hey, thank you so much for releasing this music because we love the Beatles, but we haven't heard them since this incident happened. Yeah. And they gave him the address or phone number to one of the biggest Beatles ever. And of course, as a fan of the Beatles and a viewer of the movie, you're thinking he's going to go visit Paul McCartney.
Yeah, of course. I thought it was Paul McCartney.
Right. And so to everyone's surprise, he visits John Lennon. Yeah. So in this universe, John Lennon didn't die. No. Which is fascinating because not only does that tell you about the universe that, because think about it, the day before the incident, what happens at the incident is that the power goes out.
Something cosmic happens.
Universally, the whole world goes dark for like 10 seconds. Yeah. And in those 10 seconds, not only do things vanish, but things come back to life. Yeah. And history was rewritten because John Lennon came back to life. Yeah. So like that's a whole. And
he didn't do music.
Right.
He just found somebody and settled down.
Yeah, he was an artist. Yeah. Yeah. And so it's funny because the art he did, there was a painting that he was drawing, or like I think it was almost done. It looked like a lot like Paul McCartney. Like I could see Paul on the painting that he was
drawing. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was like it looked like Paul. Like maybe I'm just over.
Was he ever an artist?
I don't. Maybe Yoko was an artist. So. And Yoko's not in the movie, but he does speak of a love that he went to go be with, and he was with her, and obviously you just assume that she passed away. Yeah. And he just lived his life. Yeah. And it's very humbling because we don't know what John Lennon could have been in terms of a songwriter, in terms of a person. Yeah. I mean, he obviously was one of the greatest musicians of all time. But it's nice to see him in this kind of way of like, because John Lennon, at the end of his life, at the end of his career, he was a man of peace, and he was fighting against the Vietnam War.
Probably, yeah. No, it was Vietnam. It had to be.
Was it Vietnam? Yeah, Vietnam.
Everybody was fighting against Vietnam.
He was against the Vietnam War, and he was rallying over peace, and was a man of very just do no harm kind of person, and that's where his path was heading. Very just like a popular monk. And so it's very humbling to see him in this version where he is essentially the same person of like, I live a simple life. I love who I love, and I gave it my all. Like, and just find someone you care about and just give them your all. Yeah. And so in the movie, it's just very nice as a fan of the Beatles and of Lennon. It's very nice to see him in this like way. And I'm glad it chose Lennon over Paul. Paul has been alive forever. He's still alive. And so you have interviews of him. And Paul has always been a perfectionist, not a hothead, but a man who knows his value. So bigger than life kind of man. Yeah. So obviously Paul could be also humble too, but not like Lennon.
I just think that it was perfect for the movie itself. Exactly. As a Beatles fan, talking to the person who died, and you would never be able to meet or heard of, or all these things, because like you said, Paul McCartney has a shit ton of interviews. You probably could read about him right now or whatever. You could probably talk to him right now if you had ability to. So be able to talk to the person that died before you were born, essentially. It's amazing as a Beatles fan. Like, fuck, like I'm able to talk and see him. Like, this is insane, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was just a good moment, a good overall scene.
Yeah, for sure. It was good. Overall, the movie was fucking great. Dude.
Yeah,
I was highly entertained. There's that one point when I was watching and I was just like, I'm bored of this shit.
Yeah.
It was very, like, it moved briskly too.
Yeah, and they had a lot of jokes, and for the most part, I think
landed.
every joke landed.
Yeah.
And I know, like, we're coming to a point where, like, everything has to have to be comedy, but it was serious when it needed to be serious,
And lighthearted when
and
it needed to be.
lighthearted when it needed to be lighthearted.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah,
It was great.
Great movie. I don't think we ever given anything a 5, or any of us have ever given anything a 5.
Probably not, but definitely I've given 4.5s, you know.
Yeah.
But you're probably maybe the first solid 5. Or Spider-Verse. I think a lot of us gave it a 5. Let us know. Go back and listen. Give us another listen and let us know.
Give us another lesson because we forgot.
All right, ladies and gents. I hope you enjoyed this review of Yesterday. Go watch it whenever you have a chance to go watch it. If you're still able to watch it in the theaters, definitely go take advantage of it. If not, watch it whenever it comes to a streaming video service.
Yeah,
near you.
It's literally a masterpiece.
Yeah, I wouldn't say masterpiece, but it's a
good movie.
It's a great movie.
It's a good movie.
All right, ladies and gents, till next time.
Till yesterday.
Till yesterday.
Mm-hmm.